Started to, and then kind of stopped after a couple episodes. We did House of Cards, do the same thing.
Thank you.
Falling asleep in House of Cards. And then see the thing I might want to go back. My mom was, yeah, lots of people love that.
It was a good show.
Never got into that.
The first season.
I would like to bring the discussion of television shows to a close. And I would like to bring the Nantucket School Committee to order for Tuesday, March 19th. Before we begin, though, I would like to take a moment to just acknowledge the loss of Christopher Lemus. If we can all just take one moment before we begin. And thank you. And now I will call the meeting to order. You have before you an agenda. I would like a motion to approve.
Somewhere.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. Is there any public comment this evening? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the superintendent's report, which is, Beth is not here, so in her absence, I will read Beth's remarks. We are still reeling from the tragic death of Christopher Lemus, senior on track to graduate from Nantucket High School. The following statement was sent to staff and families on Sunday, March 17th, regarding our crisis management plan for Monday, March 18th, the first day of school after Chris's death. Today, our island and school communities have been rattled by the news of the fatal accident that took the life of one of our high school students late last night. We are aware of how painful this is, with such a short time between this tragedy and the loss of other individuals from our school community. We understand how difficult the next few days and weeks will be as we process yet another heartbreak for our NPS family. After much reflection and deliberation, we have decided that it is best to keep school open tomorrow, Monday, March 18th. We understand that this plan differs from the student tragedy that befell us in December of 2022. We learned from that tragedy that it is best for students and staff to be in school, following familiar routines, and seek support from counselors, staff, and peers in a safe place. Additionally, the name of the deceased student has not yet been released. We do not know when this will happen, so we must respect the family's privacy and grief at this time. Meanwhile, we have had all of today to work together and put a strong plan in place to support students and staff that may need extra care tomorrow, and the best place for that care and support to happen is in our schools. We know that the best way to move forward is to continue with daily schedules while also allowing space and time for whomever is in need to process and grieve in their own way. I hope you will support this decision and understand that it is what is best for the student's immediate and extended family, the student's classmates and friends, Nantucket High School staff, and the district community at large. Thank you again for your thoughts, prayers, understanding, and consideration. The school district recognized that students disagreed with the choice to keep school open, but we stand by our decision to do so. Students and staff were able to grieve as a large group out on the baseball field. Counselors and clinicians from Fairwinds were able to meet with students and teachers, and there were plenty of spaces available for individuals to spend time as needed. We will continue to offer support throughout the remainder of this week as the high school continues to heal. 2023-2024 NPS Employee Handbook. After several months of review and revision, the 2023-2024 Nantucket Public Schools Employee Handbook is ready for your review and approval. Prior to this year, there had not been a handbook in place for close to 10 years, and we were out of compliance with our federal civil rights obligations to have an employee handbook or code of conduct. Dr. Deb Gately and I convened a team made up of teacher, ESP, and administrative representatives, including our HR specialist, to create a new handbook that includes important district rules and procedures, specific Nantucket Public Schools policies that pertain specifically to district employees. Once approved, the handbook will be reviewed each year, and any adjustments or revisions will be included for a vote along with our school handbooks. If there are any questions at this time, please feel free to address them to Dr. Gately. MASC Welln Workshop. Today, a group of 9 women administrators from our district attended the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents Women in Education Leadership Workshop in Framingham. We listened to 2 excellent keynote speakers who focused on the importance of positivity in effective school and district leadership. The workshop also allowed for a working session where the team discussed important steps that we could take to continue to increase leadership morale, as well as a culture of care and happiness throughout the district. Nantucket's leadership team is made up of 75% female leadership. I wish that all 18 were able to attend, but somebody had to stay back and run the schools and district. Thank you for supporting our professional growth and learning as administrators. And that should do it for additional updates, presentations, and discussions of issues to the committee. So now Mandy Vasil and Jennifer Psaradelis and Tracy Mailloux will present the high school program of study. Or just Mandy.
It's just Mandy, one of the 9 that stayed behind.
Aw.
Thank you for having me this evening, and thank you for taking the time to offer condolences for Christopher and his family. And I would like to just take a minute and say thank you to our community who is rallying around the family to help and support them. Quite a bit of money has been raised to help them, and there is a meal train set up for the family, so we do really appreciate that support from the community.
Thank you, Mandy.
So, program of studies. I don't know if there's the presentation is there, but I think you have a copy of it. What do you want me to do? Oh, I mean, I have it. It's just not up here. Mine doesn't have that. No.
Hold, please. Keep talking.
I like your graphics, Mandy.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you
And
very
I'm
much.
looking at the wrong. I'm going to get you there.
Okay.
Wearing my wrong information and my wrong glasses here. Okay, yes, and then. Don't need any of this, got it.
We do have copies of it. If it
I'm
doesn't.
almost there. I'm almost there.
Okay, okay.
I promise. I just have my
No,
wrong
it's
glasses
fine.
on and I can't see a thing, so
There you go.
I'm doing my
Black.
right here.
Past it, this one.
All right. I'm gonna allow. Oh, why is it stopping on me?
Well, 'cause that's what it does. There you go.
Okay, so we stop
Did I
that.
present?
It's I think it's in here as a PDF.
That's fine.
So
That's fine. So, thank you, Dr. Gately. The high school program of studies for 2024-25. That's not correct. Scroll up. So I like to start just to help you understand the process that we go through for making changes. The first thing that we do is we share our current program of studies with our departments, our teachers, the directors. Everyone has an opportunity to take a look at it, and based on what we're doing this school year, what changes do we maybe need to make or tweaks that we need to make for the upcoming school year. So departments, teachers, directors, everyone has input, and we base our changes on input from everyone. And as far as what changes we might need to make, courses that we need to add, or courses that we need to take away. So I've just broken it down for you by department. This will go a lot quicker than it seems. There weren't a lot of changes with our English department this year. We have 2 electives that we're offering, journalism and creative writing, and we offer 2 AP classes in the English department, and that's AP Literature and AP Lang. In the math department, new courses that we're adding, we are adding a new algebra. It's an advanced course. It's a combination of honors algebra 2 and honors pre-calculus. Or you could think pre-AP, pre-calculus. So this is for those students that want to fast track their math so that they're able to take 2, even 3 AP math courses by the time they're in their senior year. And then we're also bringing back computer science, but we're doing it through the Project Lead the Way program. And that is going to be part of the grant that we have with Project Lead the Way, and it will start to create a new pathway with them. AP offerings in the math department at this time are AP Statistics and AP Calculus. In the science department, we are adding the 3rd section of the Project Lead the Way pathway, which is honors medical interventions. This is the 3rd. With Project Lead the Way, they want you to offer 3 courses so that it is it's a pathway for the students. Students that complete all 3 courses can get an indication on their transcript that they have completed that pathway. We're making a course name change, and this was in conjunction working with the ESL department. The Science Foundations class is going to be changed to Conceptual Physics. That is a course that they have piloted this year and have been working on developing the curriculum. It's almost like, as they're working, they're making changes to the curriculum and they're developing it as they go. And they're seeing a lot of success with our ESL students. We offer 2 sections of it this year. Our elective offerings are marine science, and the AP offerings in the science department are AP Bio, Chemistry, Environmental Science, and AP Physics. In the social studies department, we're not really making any changes. Personal finance will be taught by social studies teachers, but as you'll see later in the presentation, personal finance won't really be a social studies credit. It's not a social studies requirement, but rather a general requirement for graduation. All students have to have a 0.5 credit for personal finance to graduate. And actually, we're ahead of the game at Nantucket by doing that. This is something that they are working on in the state so that it becomes a statewide graduation credit for all high school students. The electives in social studies, the U.S. government and politics, citizenship and contemporary issues, history through film and media, facing history, the Holocaust, genocide, and human behavior, and international relations. International relations also includes some Nantucket history in that course. AP offerings are AP U.S. history and AP U.S. government and politics. In the multilingual department, we're not making any changes, but the ELD levels have been updated for the courses that we offer. The elective offerings that our students have through our multilingual department or ESL department is a reading acceleration class, and we offer Accelerate Academy. The Accelerate Academy is for students who come to our school who are maybe not at grade level based on their age, because we have a lot of students who may start at age 16, 17. They're ninth graders. We can use Accelerate Academy to help them accelerate through their requirements so that they can still graduate possibly on time. And that program actually, this is the third year of that program, and it's actually been very successful. In our vocational and technical program, we are adding a nursing and allied health level 3 course, a medical terminology course, and a vocational awareness course. And everything in the vocational department is an elective. We also added, we added this last year, but we weren't able to run the course last year, the Sustainable Agriculture in conjunction with Sustainable Nantucket. We weren't able to hire someone to teach that course. We were able to, or Sustainable Nantucket found a candidate. We were able to hire them through some grant funding to help with that. And so we are offering the Sustainable Agriculture this year. At this time, we have 12 students enrolled in that, and so that program will continue next year.
Great.
In art and music, the one course that's going to be new is an introduction to mixed media. We're going to go away from printmaking. So this will replace a printmaking course. And then the advanced guitar course is simply going to be guitar studies. What Mr. Papard is finding through the guitar class is that when they come in advanced, they're at all different levels anyway. So he's offering one course. It will make it more amenable to more students, and it will open it up to more students by offering a couple of different sections of guitar studies. That's a really popular class. The kids really like to take that. The wellness course, as you know, this year we offered meditation. Next year we're offering contemplative, easy for you to say, Laura, contemplative studies. That would be the next course after meditation. So those students that took the meditation course this year would have that course to be their next step. We are anticipating offering more than one section of the meditation for next year. So that has been really well received, and we expect that it's going to grow. The general requirements, personal finance. The reason that we put it as a general requirement is because according to the MASC general laws and DESE curriculum, it's recommended to be a social studies requirement. However, it can come under math, it could come under English, it could come under vocational studies. So we're looking at it as a general requirement that it would be taught by a teacher that maybe they might have a free section. So if there's not enough open teaching sections in social studies, but maybe there's an open section in vocational or English, then that means we could have one of the other teachers teach that course. I think that this is one of the really important courses that we teach. It's everyday skills. It is something our students seem to do well with. They do the stock market game in this class, and they really do like learning about that. We actually have a couple of students, I think, that are going to go into finance because of the stock market game. Department changes that really didn't have any changes is the World Language Department and Special Services. And just so for your information, the course selection process is that we make the changes to the program of studies at the end of January, which is at the end of semester 1. Teachers make recommendations based on student progress and how their performance has been in the first semester. Then we encourage our teachers and our students to have conversations, and we encourage students to also talk with their parents to talk about what options are available and the recommendations that teachers are making. Because we have open enrollment and we continue to believe that open enrollment is the best way to go, Teachers may recommend a CP level class for a student, but a student could say, you know what, I think I'm going to challenge myself a little more and take an honors level course. So they still have the opportunity to choose the course or the level that they want, even though teachers have made a recommendation, and they can go with the teacher recommendation or they can go against it. They then have meetings with their counselors, and then once they've met with their counselors, when they do that meeting, the counselors are checking their credit audits and making sure that they have all the credits that they need for graduation and that they are matriculating to their senior year with the credits that they need. Once they've met with the counselors and the counselors take the selections and the recommendations, and now they post it to the Aspen, that becomes the final selection, and that's how we determine our enrollment numbers for courses. And then the next thing is we start looking at sections. I did add a note that one of the things that we prioritize is meeting with our grade 8 students and our grade 8 parents so that they fully understand the process as well and what options are available to them. And that's it. We're at the point that we are right now. The grade 8 counselors are meeting with grade 8 students to help them with their final selections, and our counselors are meeting with the high school current grade 9, 10, and 11 to finalize their selections. We anticipate having all selections in the Aspen system by April 5th, and then at that time we'll start looking at course enrollment numbers, and then we'll start to department leaders will start looking at how many sections that they need for each course and who would most likely teach those courses.
Great. Thank you, Mandy.
Okay. Yeah,
Any
thank you.
questions, Esmeralda? Tim?
The medical terminology.
Yes, sir.
Now, that's interesting because that can lead to a very high priority job in the context of terminology and coding.
Yes.
Is some of that going to be brought in?
Yes, sir. So our nursing teacher, Jess Douglas, she's the one that is offering that course for that very reason.
Because I pay 10%
You
to them.
okay?
So I think, no, but it's a job that we don't think about, but is integral to every practice of medicine or
Oh, absolutely.
chiropractic or podiatry or whatever.
Well,
Because
and
if-
correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Lepre, but people that prefer to work at home, knowing medical terminology, it's a perfect position for them because they can work from home and do that work remotely
and get paid well.
and get paid well. I understand. Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah, I was curious. So the elective offerings, are they replacing something? Or they're
No,
in
we just
addition
wanted to make sure that you knew that, you know, what the electives are in the each of the departments.
Okay.
And we still continue. We actually had a department leader meeting today, and we continue to discuss how can we offer more electives.
Great. I'm delighted that the personal finance is a requirement.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we talked about taking it out of the math department and then just doing away with it altogether. And I'll have to tell you, I was adamant. I'm like, you don't want to take this away because we already have it as a requirement. It is coming. There is an organization that is working with the legislature. It has been in the legislative process, I'm going to say going on 10 years now, but they anticipate that it's coming up quicker than not, that it will become a graduation requirement for all students.
I think it's fantastic.
So I said, you know, we don't want to take it away because then we just have to bring it back later. I think it's optimal to offer it as a general requirement and not pigeonhole it to math or social studies or one of the other departments. It depending on where it lands. So in social studies, it could be more economic based. If it's math, it's more math based. You know, there's lots of different ways that you can teach that course and help students learn those day-to-day skills that they need. Like I'm trying to figure out my own taxes right now, so. And I did take those classes.
And then I just had one more question about the contemplative class and the meditation. Is that replacing something?
No.
Or so it's an elective instead of gym? Could you take that instead?
You could, it's going to be a wellness credit, so it will be in the wellness department. So it will be one of the options that students can use for their wellness credit.
Nice.
And we're trying to wrap it around with the SEL because we see an increase of need for social emotional and social emotional support. What Mr. Vasil, and I think he mentioned this when he was here and presented, is that students who are taking the meditation class are finding quite a bit of relief by taking that. They weren't 100% sure when they started, but they are finding quite a bit of relief. We do anticipate that that's going to grow quite a bit. And so what he's doing is that this contemplative class. I'm gonna have to work
Contemplative.
on that,
That's
right?
right. It's one of those words.
Contemplative. I'll have to talk to him and ask him how to say it better. It's going to look at the holistic approach to wellness. So meditation would be part of it, but what else is there?
It's great. Thank you, Mandy.
Yes, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just X out of this or no?
So just X out.
You don't need that.
I'm gonna plug in my own machine.
And next.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mandy.
Okay,
We
y'all
have
set.
a presentation, Student Support Services and Special Education Update with Sherri Lewis, Michelle Cadavid. Excellent. You're welcome. And Dr. Deb Gately.
And I will just get us, I'll just close this for now. Thank you, everyone. Just give me 1 second I'm just gonna switch over. Hopefully. Yes. Okay. Oh, y'all can come out. So again, thank you so much for having us here tonight. As was mentioned, I'm Deb Gately, the Director of Special Services, and with me are Michelle Cadavid, who is our Coordinator of Special Education, and Sherri Lewis, who is our Coordinator of Student Support Services. I wanted to preface this presentation with a little bit about my start here 4 years ago, and at that time I was the person that did all of this. And over the past couple of years, in the support of the school committee, in the support of Dr. Hallett, and the leadership team as a whole, understanding that the department that we have is immense. It covers every student in the district, and to be done by one person, while I feel I did as best as I could my first year, it needed to be expanded in order to do it better. And that's why I am grateful for these two colleagues that allow me to be able to do a lot of things. And I think we all, on a daily basis, still run ourselves ragged, but it's for the kids, and we are grateful to be able to do it. So within our department, we do have, as you can see, 30 special ed liaison, 8 related services providers, a transition specialist, 1.8 school psychologists, 11 school counselors, 4 social workers, 55 teaching assistants, 4 school nurses, and a nurse teaching assistant. And we are supported by the ESP to the director, Eleni Villa, ESP for Individualized Education Plans and File Management, Maria Chirinos, our ESP for Translation and Interpretation, Cecilia Gutierrez, and our 2 SPs for our IAP compliance, Helena Hubova and Janie Vargas. I would like to also mention that we are the envy of many districts on the Cape, within our Cape and Islands cohort. I am incredibly proud of the fact that all of our ESPs are bilingual, some trilingual, and we have seen a marked improvement over the past couple of years in our communication with all families. Special education, student services are hard topics to talk about with some families, and within our office in itself, there's someone that can easily communicate with our families as a result, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. I am actually the only one not bilingual, but thankfully I have people to support me. Just again, going back a year to where we're in our department, we had 335 students who qualified for an individualized education plan. And at the time, we had 8 students in out-of-district residential placement and 8 students at our private schools who receive services. The total number of the students at that time had increased by 6, and we continue to range around the state average of 17.9%. This year is an interesting kind of change. We're at 329 students who receive special education services with the breakdown as listed. But one of the highlighted points is that this happened to be a year that our cohort of students in our transition program, who are our students who are reached the age of 18 and have finished the high school portion, but are entitled to education until the age of 22 or the day before they turn 22. We began the school year with 5 students in this program, and by the end of February, all of those students had aged out, except for 1 student who attends Cape Cod Community College through the MASC program. So this is, we see every once in a while, decreases in our programs just simply because kids had been together. And that's the one thing that I have noticed about Nantucket for the time that I've been here is kids that start school in Nantucket finish school in Nantucket for the majority of our programming. So this was different. So of course this year our transition teacher, Ian Stewart, we've reallocated him in a couple of different ways in the department because he lost half of his student caseload. Let me just go back over here. As far as looking at our out-of-school district placements, we currently have 9 students at residential schools located in Massachusetts and Connecticut. One of the interesting factors that we've seen an increase of in the district are families that own property on Nantucket that have moved here permanently, and therefore Nantucket becomes the district of responsibility. So since July 1st of 23, the beginning of the fiscal year, we had 2 students. So this is 2 students for whom we're responsible, but we did not actively place them at that school, but we assume fiscal responsibility for them. Another interesting fact is that 15 private school students currently qualify for special education, but only 5 students are actively attending services at the public school per their parent decision. So they qualified through the special education IEP process, then elected not to come to the district for the services. And we are a district that's such a size that we don't have the flexibility of sending service providers because of the number of students to the schools, and within the guidelines of Massachusetts, we're required to provide the services at our schools. So a lot of work has been done, and I'd like to compliment the heads of school at both the New School and Lighthouse School for working with us to try to get these students to be serviced, but the families had elected not to. Mm-hmm. So we will continue to work with the schools for that. Sherri, you want to talk a little bit about 504s?
Sure. So this year, looking at the numbers of 504s, we have approximately 106 students district-wide on 504 plans. One of the things that we did a little differently this year and that we're moving towards is incorporating something that's called a DCAP, a District Accommodation Plan. And what we do is when we find that there is a student with an identified or unidentified disability that is interfering with their ability to access the curriculum, is we start with something that is a DCAP. So it's kind of like a trial period where we're able to sort of tweak accommodations so that if they do indeed qualify for a 504 plan, then when we move them to that, we've already tried some accommodations, and so the 504 plans are more accurate. As a result, I'm finding that our 504 plan numbers are decreasing and students are being successful on DCAPs.
So one of the things that I just talked about with the private school students is that one of the greatest needs that existed was the support of a social worker or counselor at one of the private schools. We receive funding through our federal grants that allows us to spend that funding to support the private schools. So because there were some at both schools, some students not participating in services at the school, we were able to take some of the funding and hired a counselor to go, and a social worker to go to Nantucket New School, who she is seeing those students on those individualized plans to receive their services. It's working incredibly well. I hope to be able to continue it next year, given the provider's availability. That always is tricky, but that has worked out well. We created and implemented a vocational awareness course at the high school, and that, to my point a few minutes ago about our transition teacher losing students to aging out, he and Jennifer Christensen, our transitional specialist, collaborated and developed that course. And it's really exciting to bring some of our students to that next level. We recently were awarded a $17,000 grant from the Department of Ed for the IEP Improvement Project, and we are intending on using that for family engagement, as well as the purchase, which we already have purchased, the Bloom Method app for IEP development. Alan Bloom is a over 40-year educator, special educator in Massachusetts, and is in high demand across the state to do training with with many districts. I was incredibly fortunate to be able to engage him for our district to be able to do work, and a lot of our liaisons are excited because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of IEP development, which is fantastic. And then, of course, a portion of that money, in addition to the support we'll receive from the district, will be for the implementation of a new, friendlier IEP management system called EdPlan.
So similar to last year, we have SEL in all of our schools. The programs that we're using are Second Step, Responsive Classroom, which is now being used at CPS, and Teen Truth, which continues at the high school level. We also are using Zones of Regulation throughout all 4 schools, and Social Thinking curriculum. Recently, our Tier 3 counselor departed the high school, and we are supplementing that position with an outside local provider along with in-house support services. We are using DESA data in most of our schools in the district, which helps advise us in terms of services that students need in relation to SEL services. This past year, we had 7 staff members across the district certified in CPR, AED training. And last year we had over 45 staff members district-wide, we have over 45 staff members district-wide with current certifications, which is great when we think about, the health needs of our staff and our students, that we have staff members that are ready to assist or able to assist should a medical emergency arise. We continue to use tiered interventions and a referral system. In addition to our Tier 1 counseling services, which are available to all students, and that is via their school counselor. So some of our other tiered services look like small group counseling, which are in place in all 4 schools with school-based staff. We have also collaborated with the Family Resource Center, and we've run groups with the Family Resource Center in all 4 schools in our district. Right now, we are only doing them in NIS, CPS, and NHS in collaboration with school-based staff. We've continued with the Bridge program this year. We are supplementing that with Bright programming, so we are coordinating with the Bright program, which is out of Brookline, Massachusetts. That is funded by grant money that we received this year. We continue to do 6-week SEL interventions for students that are Tier 1 but just need a little bit more, and then we assess and determine whether or not they need additional interventions. We also have built the SAVE program up, which we started last year. That is the Substance, Alcohol, Vaping Education Program, and we are delighted to say we do that in coordination with ASAP. The director, Elise Norton, I'm sorry, I'm blanking out on her last name right now. And then we also have really reinforced and started a canine therapy program in the middle school and the high school. We've added additional teams, and we're looking at trying to incorporate some services for staff at least one day a week at the middle school and high school, and NIS is looking to start the canine therapy program at their school as well. We received grant funds this year in the amount of $89,000, which is a little lower than what we received last year, and that funding has been applied to the BRIGHT program, Teen Truth, PASS, QBS safety care training, de-escalation training, and the Aperture program, which is what provides us with DESA data. The PASS program is new this year. It is an alternative for high school students who would receive in-school or out-of-school suspension. It's also for high school students who have therapeutic need or have they have issues with attending school on a regular basis. The problem that we are encountering right now with the PASS program is that it is off-island. It's located in Barnstable, and it is a day program that is anywhere from 3 to 7 days, and we are looking for a travel monitor. Right now I have a prospective candidate, so I'm hoping that we'll be able to move forward with this candidate and start having students take advantage of this PASS program. With professional development, this past year, the Department of Education came out with a draft of a new PE and wellness program, which they adopted about a couple months ago. We started working with the PE, health teachers, nurses, social workers, and counselors at the onset of this school year. So we have been working collaboratively, looking for overlaps in the curriculum. Counselors have been pushing into PE classes. At the high school and middle school, there was already a lot of collaboration with the school nurses going in. It's just been a great asset to have all of these team members coming together and share their levels of expertise, and I feel that the students are benefiting from it. We are well ahead of where we need to be in terms of implementing this new PE program, and I look forward to continue working on this in the upcoming school year. We also had trauma-attuned counseling, practices in action, which is a continuation of a professional development workshop we had last year for counselors and social workers. We continued with suicide safety and threat assessments. This year we did cognitive behavioral therapy, 504 training, which was also new and a great refresher for our counselors, and we also did understanding and using district accommodation plans, which I mentioned earlier, which we started using this year. In terms of community connections, we are continuing our relationship with Community Solutions for Behavioral Health, Fairwinds, Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention, Children's Cove, A Safe Place, Family Resource Center, Food First. We have really strengthened our relationships with the Department of Child and Family Services and meet with them on a bi-weekly basis. And we are also having collaborative meetings with the Barnstable District Attorney's Office, which we do on a quarterly basis.
So as I mentioned, and this has been a couple years in the making, we are introducing a new IEP management system called EdPlan in September, which is going to provide online access for our families for IEP documents, as well as the ability to sign documents online. It will allow special ed liaisons to translate the IEP documents in real time for target languages in the district. So one of the things that we do right now is we'll do a lot of manual translations in Spanish, which Ceci Gutierrez does that for us. But this will allow, at a click of a button, for all of our major languages in the district to be able to hand a family at a meeting a draft IEP in their target language with the interpretive services, as well as not having to wait. Currently, all of our languages but Spanish have to get sent to a online translation service, and for some languages it can take up to 4 to 5 weeks, which doesn't allow us to be compliant. So we're very excited about that. We are going to continue next year, and we're going to be looking at continuing our 2-year commitment with the Orton Gillingham Academy. We currently have 9 teachers to become fully certified in Orton Gillingham, and again, those teachers will be entering year 2. So what I'd like to explain is we're going to also introduce summer professional development to offer to the elementary pre-K to 2 for a 30-hour Orton Gillingham educator course that will be grant funded. So what has happened is, and I've come before you on several occasions and talking about how we're addressing the needs of our language-based learners, we've progressed incredibly well over the past few years, introducing the language-based program at NIS, and then coming into the realization, and I need to emphasize, within the state of Massachusetts, we are required to have trained educators. We are not required to have certified educators. I have made the decision to move forward with the district to commit to the certification route, which is, to the educators that are involved in this program, intense. It is 10 days out of the school year. It was a lot of work in the summer, and it's a 2-year commitment. I want to mention that in addition to special education teachers, there are also multilingual language teachers from our EL department, from the high school, and NIS also involved. And it's been a really great kind of merging of our two departments for that to be able to happen. But when I look at, in terms of the level of tiers within the district, we'll have, by the time year 2 ends, we'll have certified people at NHS, CPS, and NIS. And we will be introducing, in discussions with building administrators, looking at anticipated turnover in teachers over the next few years. We're going to probably certify another 2 or 3 teachers at those levels, NIS, CPS, and NHS, to start a new 2-year cohort next year. As far as the elementary school is concerned, again, students that are in the elementary school, the pre-K to 2 range, although they can be diagnosed with learning disabilities in specific reading areas, dyslexia, any of those, categories within specific learning, we also have to recognize the fact that these are developing learners. And to engage in an intense program can be challenging for some of them. So this classroom educator course is compliant within the Orton Gillingham range, and it does the same sorts of lessons and focused areas to build on the capacity for those students, but it's at the appropriate instructional level. We do currently, and part of this was always our intention within the collaboration between my department and the elementary school, to bring this education to the elementary school for these teachers. But this year we have run into the issue of some staffing changes where we have some students that have to go to NIS from the elementary school to get these services, and that's just not the way we want to do things. We like to keep kids in their schools to be educated by their teachers. So that's something that's going to happen over this summer for those teachers to be ready for kids in the fall who may either have those program qualifications in their IEPs or may be, future diagnosed. I want to turn it over right now to Michelle, who, in addition, this year we have changed the structure of our department, and Michelle is a former team leader for NES and NIS. And what we have done within our department is change it so that we've eliminated the team leader positions in order to have more office support. But I attend all the initial evaluation meetings as the head of the kind of chair of those meetings. Michelle does all of our reevaluation meetings. So when she's not doing reevaluation meetings, which is 1 or 2 a day, she has become very involved in the writing of an application in collaboration to become part of the Dyslexia Institute through the Department of Education. She's going to talk a little bit more about that right now.
Great. Thank you, Deb. We have been quite busy this year. I'm really pleased to share this piece for where we're going for 24-25, because this has been a welcomed opportunity. This year, Barbara Cohen, our L director, had reached out to Deb and I to inquire whether we would be interested in partaking in this institute. And fortunately, we applied and we were selected. We are a cohort among other districts in the state. participating in what they call the DESE Dyslexia Institute. The goal of the Institute is really to offer professional development to districts so that districts can develop a dyslexia action plan where we're really looking to study a little more closely at the pre-K to grade 3 level, an action plan so that we can identify students who are at risk of reading challenges, whether they may be a student with dyslexia or a student who is just having reading challenges in their developmental progression. So the idea is to be able to identify processes and early screening tools so that we can implement proactively and address the needs of learners earlier. Currently, we are collaborating obviously with NES, with Kim Kubish and her team. The 5 participants from the district that are partaking in this institute are Barbara Cohen, our L director, Kim Albertson, NES assistant principal, myself, and 2 special education teachers, Elizabeth Weber and Nicolette Benson. And so we're sort of in the middle of the institute. The institute does end, I believe, at the end of May, where we will devise an action plan and steps so that we can implement as of next year. It's been a very welcome opportunity because the idea is to be able to not only identify our processes, and it has validated in many ways all the hard work that is occurring at NES. I think the big bonus that I'm learning along the way is that it's really helping us address the needs of our multi-language learners who are a little more complicated to figure out early on. They're learning 2 languages, and that complicates trying to identify whether it is an issue related to their acquisition of English or if it's an issue related to a true reading disorder. And so this has really helped us. The panel and the folks that are providing this institute are top shelf. They are folks who are teaching and training in Boston that have tremendous expertise in the area of dyslexia. So we've been really pleased to go and participate. So that will be something that we hope to solidify and roll out for next year.
Great.
Thank you.
So next year, we have already started our next cycle of tiered focus monitoring. We will be looking at student identification, IEP development, program and support services, and equal opportunity. So we're in the process right now of conducting our self-assessment during this school year, and the site visit from the Department of Ed will happen next year. They've really changed the process and to their credit, have simplified it a lot, that they're just simply asking us to upload a lot of the information that we need without a lot of, not a whole lot of excitement around it. Sherri, you want to talk about where you're headed for next year?
Yeah, so with DESA, we're looking to move forward with using it consistently in all schools in the same manner so that we're able to identify students in need of SEL support. The goal was to implement the MASC model last year, and we're still working on moving towards that. I just recently did a presentation on EWIS and Vocal where we did not have the data. So I'm hoping that next year I will have the data available to help move forward in instructing how we're going to change our programming or adjust our programming. We are going to continue with our collaboration of the wellness team members, which is our PA and health teachers, our nurses, our school counselors, and our social workers, which I think it's just such a great collaboration. And with that, we'll be implementing the new wellness standards as well. New this year is we're implementing Naviance in grades 6 through 8. It's already present in grades 9 through 12. It's a great program that it focuses on career and post-secondary planning. So they're just rolling it out right now, and so we will be rolling it out in full force in grades 6 through 8 next year.
So I think that is the end of it. Again, thank you for allowing us to share what we do. It is very challenging to encapsulate in a presentation what our department does on a daily basis. Because in addition to just some of the things that we shared in terms of our larger initiatives, it's working with the students, it's working with the families, it's working with the building teachers and administration on different things that arise. That you know, we continue to be motivated by to make positive change to the best of our ability. So if you have any questions, we're more than happy to answer
Can I
them.
just add to that?
Yeah.
I want to say that in addition to what we do every day, in light of the recent crisis that we've just had, and in light of the loss of the student, that's also stuff that our team does, and we plan and we coordinate. And most of our weekend, our Sunday, was spent, you know, trying to make sure that we were ready to meet the needs of the students. So it's not just all of the stuff that we presented. As Deb said, it's really challenging to encapsulate all that we do on a daily basis. But once again, it's our pleasure because it's for the students.
Thank you so much. Questions, Esmeralda?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say thank you very much for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Tim?
Okay, I've got a couple questions.
Yeah.
I thought more staff members were CPR and defibrillator trained.
So over the course of time, so we have 45 total in the district right now, but what's happened is that for some people that were originally certified, their certifications may have lapsed and they may not have elected to recertify. So we're trying to push, and that's why we're opening it up. We have certain need within our district for certain students that we must have someone certified within the team of teachers those students have, but we're trying to push across the district in really working, we'll be working more intently with the community school who who runs the training through the American Red Cross and offers it, to try to find alternative or better options for when they can do the certification. Right now it's on the weekends or after school, and it's really challenging. And so one of the things that we did this year as a leadership team is recognized that we need to integrate more time within our professional development time before the school year starts to allow people that opportunity. Because I think we would have a higher number if we didn't have to be limited right now to when we offer the training.
Okay. Secondly, what happened to the 4 students that aged out?
So right now, to my understanding, and actually for the 4 students that aged out, I am proud to say that one of them is an employee of Nantucket Elementary School who assists in our pre-K program. And he had been part of his kind of school to career. He had been assisting in the pre-K program all along, but he is now a gainfully employed individual. And we're thrilled to have him there. We have another student that works at the Nantucket Hotel and had been gainfully employed since the age of 19. Our other 2 students, one student is receiving direct support from the state and services through job training, and our other student, to my understanding, family is in the process of transitioning. So I'm not really sure what he'll do from that point on. But one of the things that our transition program works really hard is to make sure that our students are ready once they leave.
Now, when you say they aged out,
Yep.
did they age out with a diploma? Did they age out?
So there's a couple ways. So all of them receive certificates of completion. In order to receive the diploma, they would have had to have passed MCAS. So typically speaking, many of our students at that age level do not receive a diploma. They'll get a certificate of completion, which will also allow them to get a job.
Okay.
Because we're supported by the state agencies that endorse their employment.
Now, the Orton Gillingham at the elementary school,
Yeah.
K1, 2,
Yep.
are we going to have somebody there, or is it?
Yeah, there's going to be 2 teachers that are going to be taking the course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
You do a lot of stuff?
Yeah, we do.
Well,
Thank you.
A little bit busy. I have a
Oh,
question.
hold on.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I just want to go back to Dr. Leprey's question about the certification for CPR and AED. And Ms. Kubish just reminded me that the school nurses do provide AED training at the beginning of the year for all school buildings, along with other things like EpiPen and just some general medical procedures. So that training still is occurring, but as Dr. Gately pointed out, we are looking to provide more training for CPR and AED.
Because I think it's a nice, you have a close circle of people that are trained so that at a football game when somebody goes down,
Yeah.
hopefully there'll be a crowd of people doing CPR and looking for a defibrillator.
Right.
Absolutely. Laura, do you have a
Yeah,
question?
I do. The Orton Gillingham
Yeah.
program, once a teacher is certified, are they able to train others?
No. So it's a very specialized program that, for that reason, it's very contained to agencies that are endorsed to be able to provide this training. So again, with pleasure, we've reallocated some of our federal funding this year to be able to support this initiative. Again, it's all public, so it was $62,000 to support these teachers. But again, within the world of special education, we do not endorse a program per se. In a student's IEP, it's written as a rules-based reading program, systemized, structured approach. And we do implement different programs depending on the level of child need. So within our foundations program at the through grade 3, we do, that's a phonics-based program that all students receive. So that's Wilson. But then when we look at in really reacting to the interests and desires of the teachers, we had a lot of teachers already Orton Gillingham trained that we just brought it to the next level to be able to do the certification.
That's great. And is a portion of it online, or they have to go?
Yeah, so no, all of it is actually online.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so Deb Morris through Orton Gillingham Academy is our trainer. And so this started, like I said, back in August, where they had work they had to do on their own. And the 10 sessions are all full day sessions that the teachers interact with her online.
Will anybody be going to the national conference in April?
Probably not.
That's a terrible time.
Yeah,
I know, but
it's MCAS time, and it's like I said, we our educators wear many hats, and in the middle of doing the PD work for this and everything else, there's not a whole lot of time to get to go off island to kind of reap some benefits and interaction with other people doing this.
right, maybe at some point, I think that would be an important thing for
Yeah,
you all
for
to
sure.
get to do. Absolutely.
For sure.
Well, we know this is just like a tiny baby toe of all that you do. So we are so grateful, and thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you for giving us the opportunity. I'm just going to take a minute to sign off of this, but please continue.
Sure. So we do have on our agenda the school committee self-evaluation results, but as we are missing Pauline and Chantal and Beth, we are going to move that to our meeting on April 2nd. So we'll move on to committee discussions and votes to be taken. So I'll start with a vote to approve the March 5th, 2024 school committee minutes. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I would like a motion, vote to approve changes to policy BEDH, public comment at school meetings per the MASC recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Vote to approve changes to policy JLCB, which is the immunization of students per MASC recommendation. It currently reads mandated, and we changed it to, I'm trying to think of the wording now. But in any case, it's recommended. So that is following MASC policy. We were not in compliance with that. So may I have a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to approve policy CHC, development and dissemination of procedures. It was an outdated policy in our book. May I have a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Transfers and invoices. A motion to approve? Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Subcommittee work group report. Anyone? I attended the Cape Cod Collaborative last Wednesday, which was just interesting in terms of what is happening within their organization. They're having some movement there, and but otherwise nothing major to report. Bruna's not here, so we don't have our student council representative. So the agenda for their next meeting on April 2nd, we'll have student enrollment and the 25 Surfside property update, campus-wide master plan update, art department presentation. And that brings us to time for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very much. Thank you.